leaders had told congregants they would get a refund of their tithes if they weren't happy with the results of their donations. Well, they weren't happy and they want their money back. It's really up to people like Brock to say, I've had enough, make some noise, and put her future dollars elsewhere. And then she said the saddest thing. She said, you've broken my heart. In the last few years, many corrupt and false preachers have been exposed. Their deeds done in the darkness have been brought to the light, and this has caused many people to wake up and take action. Roy's report just posted, embattled Daystar TV refuses to refund donations. Says Joni Lamb has a corrupt spirit of greed and power. Embattled Daystar TV is refusing to refund donations to a longtime donor who complained network president Joni Lamb misused money to purchase mansions and dismissed the assault of her own granddaughter. Daystar responded by blaming Joni Lamb's son, which is incredulous, but is it really a surprise since we already have witnessed her abuse and throwing her own son under the bus? The woman, whose name is Bonita Brock, said in her email to Daystar, I have given donations over all of these years since 1997 or before. I will not give up on getting my funds back. I do not want to hear that you are not returning people's donations, specifically my donations, back to them. I expect them to be returned to me within 2 weeks' time. She listed many of the scandals, but she stressed that in all the years of giving to Daystar, they did not have her permission to spend on anything personal. And then she said the saddest thing. She said, you've broken my heart. But then she said, I will pray for all of them. Welcome to Morning Tea. Hello, I'm Joanne, Jolee, and I'm so glad you're here today. I want to quickly remind you about our brand new live stream. It's called Encourage One Another. It's every Sunday at 7 p.m. And this exists simply to uplift, to set our minds in a good place as we head into a victorious week, winning the races and battles before us. But today, as I often do in these posts, we are bringing to light the deeds done in darkness so they can be exposed and dealt with, and this is for the benefit of the church, which is the body of Christ. This is not gossip. This is judging. We are called to judge anyone who calls themselves a believer in Christ. Paul admonished the believers in Acts. He says, for 3 years I did not cease night or day to admonish everyone with tears. This admonishing was a persistent effort on his part to help them get their theology straight so they could become strong in their knowledge of God and Christ and not succumb to false teaching, which so many were and still are today. But back to Daystar, who responded to the request for their money back with a and blamed the corrupt son. Tragic. The fact about the money, it's most likely gone. Daystar doesn't have to disclose anything as a registered church, and until there is some sort of change in the level of enforcement for corrupt charitable corporations, they can keep doing whatever they like. It's really up to people like Brock to say, I've had enough, make some noise, and put her future dollars elsewhere. But it does seem like more people are wising up. Just a few months back, I reported on a lawsuit. This was filed by members of Gateway Church, naming the recently indicted Pastor Robert Morris and other church founders and executives in this lawsuit, which stemmed primarily from allegations that the church refused to be transparent about the ministry's $100 million in annual revenue in the past years. Morris and the other leaders had told congregants they would get a refund of their tithes if they weren't happy with the results of their donations. Well, they weren't happy and they want their money back. Did you hear about that investigation into church corruption? It was by Senator Charles Grassley, who raised questions about the personal use of church-owned airplanes, luxury homes, credit cards used by the pastors and their families, and he expressed concern about the lack of oversight of finances by boards that are often packed with the televangelists' relatives and friends. The ministries investigated included Paula White, who was a senior advisor for President Donald Trump's White House Faith Office. There was Joyce Meyer, Benny Hinn, and Kenneth Copeland. Paula White, Meyer, and Copeland would not cooperate fully, and the Finance Committee did not have the time or resources to enforce any subpoenas. And sadly, nothing came of it. Grassley said he hoped the review would lead to an update in tax rules governing religious groups so abuses don't occur. Well, the time is now. It's well overdue for this to happen. So speaking of Daystar, Gary and Dendra Keesee have a couple of shows on the network. One is called Fixing the Money Thing. They are also founding pastors of Faith Life Church in Albany, Ohio. Their son, 36-year-old Tom Keesee, was just indicted for 11 counts of first-degree felony R, and third-degree felony gross S imposition. He also was charged with 5 counts of unlawful S conduct with a minor, according to the Columbus Dispatch news outlet. The indictment involves 3 victims who were 6 to 15 years old at the time of the alleged abuse. When I first saw the headlines, I thought, this might be unfair to implicate parents of their sick adult child. It's not always the fault of the parent when a child is wayward. The crimes allegedly did not even take place in their church. But I wondered if it was just because they're wealthy and famous. But one of his victims is his sister. Now we're talking about I. How long have the parents known about this? Tom's parents had put him into church leadership over young people. Last year, he was fired from that position for some reason. And Tom Keesee's sister, her name is Kirsten McKinney, posted this on her Facebook page. This is back in February. I feel it is time to share my experience. Many are aware of allegations involving a family member. I was a victim. When I learned of ongoing concerns for others' safety in combination with others' stories, I already knew I felt a responsibility to step forward. A private police investigation has been working on this case alongside other victims. Given the facts of this case, I find it deeply concerning that the BCI, that's the Bureau of Criminal Investigation, is unwilling to hear from first-hand victims, despite law enforcement confirming there was sufficient evidence to proceed without my story. I also cannot ignore that my mother has a close political relationship with Attorney General Dave Yost. I do not know if this has had any impact on the decision, but it raises serious questions about the fairness and transparency of the process. Many individuals in law enforcement and government positions have also expressed confusion and frustration over why this case is not moving forward. So shortly after this, there was a groundswell of reaction and a petition went around, and then the Attorney General agreed to take a look at the case. So at this time, there are many accusations and rumors flying around. A couple who formerly attended the church for about 7 years said that Gary and Dendra knew about the abuse and the alleged abuse and concealed it. Others have accused the Keesees of trying to silence them. We'll see in the weeks ahead as things bubble up to the surface. Earlier this year, Gary Keesee posted a video. It was tearful. It was at 3 a.m. and it was addressed to his children and congregation.
I just want to take a moment and talk to my 5 children, the congregation, the church or faith life. I'm a dad of 5 children, just like many of you are as well. I owe it to my children to never help one at the expense of the other. I think as parents we'd agree. It has been a hard place recently with things going on with children. You know, when any of my children came to me with a failure, I wanted to always bring restoration and direct them to God's forgiveness and ultimately to make sure they step into the love of God where healing can take place. And even though everyone makes a mistake in life, I've never been presented from any of my children any criminal behavior. Kirsten, I want to tell you that I'm sorry I let you down as a dad. I have, and I'm so sorry that you had to go to such extremes to get my attention. I always enjoyed being with you, and you know we always had great times together. And you and Elijah and Easton, such a wonderful family, but I wanted to make sure that you understand that. Tim and Alicia, you work so hard, and you've been faithful all these years, and such a great family, and I apologize to you as well. I know you have felt maybe unsupported, and maybe I've just been a little too busy, but just know that I love you. Jason and Amy, wow, you guys have always been amazing. You've been diligent all these years. And you know, all of us, our kids, all of us have gone through multiple tough times in the ministry. But we have built something that was fabulous. I want to talk to my staff, hardworking staff, all these years. God has blessed me with you. And, you know, I apologize to you if I, and I'm sure I have, lacked in some leadership and maybe affirmation and communication with you that would have maybe helped you do better and be better. But this situation that has arisen in my family has been a very deeply personal issue. And my intent was never, or is not, to ever cover up anything, anytime. But at the same time, not to betray the trust of one child over another. And I think you can understand that if you're a parent. But I just want to say to my staff that, I love you, and I know that you'll reap the reward of your labor. God is faithful. But it's a new year, new chapter. I believe for God to bring restoration to our family, into our church, and to our congregation. And it's a late day here. It's like 3 a.m. Working hard all day just to get things done. But I wanted to take this minute before I head home just to make sure you understand where I'm at and how much I love you. Your dad, thank you. Your pastor.
He has been quoted as saying during one of his church services that all hell is breaking loose out there, but the truth will prevail. And Dendra has asked God to forgive those who hurt us, and also said those who know us know what they say is not true. So this situation is developing rapidly, and I want to end by quoting Kirsten. The outpouring of texts, comments, and support has been overwhelming and have been an anchor that is right, even though it's been so painfully hard. My heart grieves for everyone involved. I have cried so many tears for every person who has been impacted, for my family, for my parents, for people dealing with the shock. This is not easy. Please have so much grace and love for people right now. Get off of social media and go hug people, talk to people, be in community. I also want to say that in a world where it is often so hard to find the good, so many of you have been that good, showing a love that is deeply biblical and true and healing for so many. I love what she said, be that good. It takes immense courage for victims of these types of crimes to speak out, and it's going to take so many years for the healing, but it begins for these brave young women who we should pray for. Thank you for watching. I want to remind you to look for the Lord's blessings because they're all around you. Bye-bye.